Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome back to the Miranda Zone. It's your girl Miranda. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than my regular videos that I make. This is going to be let me take that back. This is going to be I had a stalker video. Now I know everyone, when they hear me say that, they're going to be like, what? Wait, what? Huh? Miranda had a stalker? Yes, I had a stalker when I was a child. And I actually had two stalkers that I will be talking about in this video. It can, you know, stalkers are everywhere. It don't just happen to certain people. It can happen to me. It did happen. It did happen to me. It can happen to you. It can happen to anyone. If there are people, that see you out in public and they are fond with the way you look, or they wonder why you are the way you are, like, if they don't, like, for me, when I go out in public, I'm in a power chair. I use a power chair to get around. So when people stare at me, they're probably thinking, you know, what's wrong with this girl? Why is she in a power chair? Why does she have to use a power chair? Why is she on oxygen? And then there's some people like, and I don't get this from guys, but some guys are like, they look past all that, and some of them will look at me like, dang, so, and I have caught guys just staring at me, being like, hmm, like, oh, girl, and all that stuff. And sometimes I will smile at a guy and then just go on if they're, looking at me. Uh, and usually, if a guy were to look at me, I would smile at him and he would smile at me and then go on. But the stories that I'm about to tell you, it's deeper than that. It did not happen that way. So here we go with the story. All right, y'all. So I was at the mall one time. I'm gonna start the first story. The first time I've ever been stalked from when I was a child. This is the first story. So I went to the mall with my grandmother, and we were right by the pretzel place. Like, you know how they got that pretzel place set up? They got like a small food court right beside the pretzel place. So we sat beside the pretzel place because we got a pretzel that day. And, we're sitting and talking, and all of a sudden, my grandmother notices this man staring at me. Now, I was a child back then when this happened. I was probably about, I want to guess to be 9, maybe 8, possibly 10 years old. I was a young thing. But anyways, she caught this man just staring at me, just out the corner of his eye, his peripheral vision. Like he was looking sideways like this and just staring at me. I didn't notice it, but she did. And so she sat beside me so that way he couldn't see me. And then she let me know that there was a man that was staring at me. And she felt really creeped out about it. And when you have a grandparent that tells you that there's someone staring at you real creepy, when you're a kid, you want to look who's doing it. You want to look at who's staring at you real creepy. So my stupid self was looking around to see who was staring at me. And I found the guy who was staring at me. And so, yeah, it was a real creepy situation. So a few minutes later, we got up to go shop around. And that's all that happened that day. The dude didn't follow us, thank goodness, or anything like that. That was one, that was my very first time that I ever had a stalker. Now, before my lymphedema, my cellulitis and lymphedema situation happened, um, about 2 years ago, I met my ex friend, Christina. I say ex friend because she's no longer my friend anymore. And I don't want to get into that. Her and I we just didn't want to be friends anymore. She decided she didn't want to be friends with me, but that's another story, and I don't want to get into that. But, anyways, when her and I were friends, we used to always, go to the mall all the time. We would go to the mall, shop, hang out, and all this crap. So, anyways, one day we went to the mall. This is another mall story because it seemed to always happen at the mall. So, anyways, we're at the mall, we're at the food court, and we eat our lunch, and everything's going good. We're talking, we're laughing, we're cutting up, we're having a really, really good time. So we get done with our lunch. Um, we go to throw our plates away. I turn around to make sure, because I had my purse on my seatbelt on the power chair, and I always look behind me to make sure that where I sat, there was nothing under where I sat. There was nothing on the floor of where I sat. So I looked, and then after I looked, nothing was there. So I looked up. When I happened to look up, straight up, there was a man sitting down at a table, staring at me out the corner of his eye. And that gave me the memory of being with my grandmother when I was a kid, and there was a guy staring at me out the corner of his eye. And it was the same dang situation. And so, I kind of panicked. I did panic. I didn't I didn't let him know. I didn't give him the vibes or the hint to let him know that I was panicking. But inside of myself, I was in a freaking panic. And there were no mall police officers anywhere in the food court because I was gonna go up to a mall cop. Blah, blah, blah. This story freaks me out. So if I get tongue tied or talk weird, it's just because I don't like talking about this situation. But I figured I would, share it anyway because it's a funny story. It's funny now because it happened a long time ago. But anyways, there were no mall cops anywhere in the food court. So this man is staring at me out the corner of his eye, just like the same dude did when I was a kid. But I don't believe this was the same dude that stared at me when I was with my grandmother at the mall with my grandmother. I think this was a totally, you know, different guy. And if it was the same dude, okay, if I was, let's say I was 10, 9 or 10 back then when that situation happened. See, I am 28 years old. So I expected that man to have grown old and be dead and in his grave because that was like 13, 14, 15 years ago. That was a long, long time ago. So, yeah, I expected, if it was the same man, to be dead, old, and in his grave. But I didn't give him the hint that I was freaked out by him. I just caught him staring at me, and I looked right at him. I didn't smile. I didn't give him a dirty look. I just gave him a simple, plain look. Just a real quick one, though. I didn't like stare at him back like this, just like I just simply, looked at him and looked away like that. I didn't stare or nothing like that. But it creeped me out. So I told Christina, I said, there is a man. And I turned around so he couldn't see what I was saying. I turned around and I said, there's a man staring at me and I'm very uncomfortable. So let's go somewhere else. Let's start shopping somewhere. So then that's when we started making our way to the shops. But yeah. So, anyways, there is my I got stalked story. Those are the only two times that I have ever been stalked. And it was always at the mall. I knew there were creeps at the mall, but I didn't know there was like real freaking creeps. Y'all gotta be okay. I'm gonna give you all some friendly advice. Be careful anywhere you go. That's just it. Be careful anywhere you go when you're out in public. If you feel that someone is staring at you, don't make eye contact with them because I am very lucky that that man didn't come up to me and start talking to me or doing something to me or even chase us for that matter. Because if I would have, looked directly at him and stared at him, then matters would have gotten worse. So I got away, I got us away as fast as possible without him knowing, that I was trying to get away from him. But, anyways, if you're in a situation where you feel like someone's staring at you, just walk away. Act like you're still shopping around, and just look at stuff as you would when you're shopping and just keep walking like you're looking for something. Because if you stare back at that one person that's got their eyes on you, you are going to send them the signal of the come here signal. And that is not something that you want to do. Some more advice I have for you. If that person does follow you and you're uncomfortable with it, find a employee that works there wherever you are. And if you're somewhere that there's no employees or nobody around you except for the person who's stalking you, call the police. Because you have to keep yourself protected. So I'm gonna get off here and make more videos for this week. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, please comment on this video because I love hearing your all's feedback. If you're not a subscriber and you enjoy this video, please subscribe. Follow me on my social media. I will have my links. I will have all of my links in the description box down below. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Love you all. Peace. God bless.